I'm Elaine Reyes at the United Nations headquarters in New York, and this is UN Insider.
Coming up.
This remains the only organization capable of bringing together every country in the world. The only one capable of acting on a truly global scale.
A new era begins as the 80th session of the UN General Assembly gets underway.
I condemn this flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar.
Strong reaction as Israeli strikes target Hamas leaders in Qatar.
South-South cooperation is a gradual thing. It's something that you need to nurture. It's something that should become part of the DNA of development cooperation.
Partnering for success. A conversation on cooperation between developing nations. Next.
This is no ordinary session. This is a year to adapt, to evolve, and to build the United Nations we need for the next 80 years, for the lifetimes of our children. It is a moment to show 8 billion people around the world why this organization still matters, why they are right to look to the streaming blue flag of the United Nations as a source of hope.
The gavel has been passed and a new session of the UN General Assembly is underway. Philemon Yang handed over the reins to Annalena Baerbock this week, who is just the 5th woman to serve as president of the General Assembly. This will be a year of big decisions as the organization works to streamline for the future under the UN 80 initiative, all while dealing with global conflicts and pushing for the Sustainable Development Goals. Diplomats will also begin the process to select the next UN Secretary General. The theme for this new session, Better Together, 80 years and more for peace, development, and human rights.
Tuesday marked the official end of the UN's 79th year and the start of its 80th. In the UN General Assembly Hall, where presidents and prime ministers will gather in 2 weeks, there was a special session to see out the old and welcome in the new. The Secretary-General reflected on how the world body has evolved over 8 decades.
The founders of this organization in 1945 recognized the fundamental fact. The strength of the United Nations depended on the commitment of countries to look beyond solely national interests and to consider instead that we could achieve by standing as one. This truth is just as important today as it was 80 years ago.
On Tuesday, the new president of the General Assembly, former German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, was sworn in. But as the UN moves from one session to the next, it's followed by the global problems it's tasked with alleviating, like ongoing conflicts, famine and global inequality, problems Baerbock now inherits.
Being sworn in on the original UN Charter reminds us what the world can achieve together. But looking from Gaza to Ukraine and to Sudan, Haiti reminds us as well how many times we have failed to deliver on its promises on peace and security, human rights and justice, and sustainability.
Critics say the United Nations is showing its age, struggling to demonstrate its relevance as it wrestles with protracted conflicts and a changing geopolitical landscape 8 decades after its inception. Annalena Baerbock warned her task in the year ahead will be showing 8 billion people why this organisation still matters, something she admitted would definitely not be easy. Mitch McCann, CGTN, at the United Nations in New York.
From the Security Council to the briefing room and beyond, Shudeja is monitoring the latest developments inside the UN. Doja.
Yes, Elaine. It's a busy week, with the 80th session of the General Assembly now underway and a major escalation of tensions in the Middle East. So let's dive right in. The biggest story this week is the Israeli strike targeting Hamas officials, not in Gaza, but in Doha, Qatar. The development quickly drew widespread condemnation from all around the world, including from the UN Secretary General.
We are just learning about the Israeli attacks in Qatar. a country that has been playing a very positive role to achieve a ceasefire and release of all hostages. I condemn this flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar. All parties must work towards achieving a permanent ceasefire, not destroying it.
The new president of the General Assembly also voiced her concern.
The escalation of today is obviously concerning, and I call on all parties to exercise maximum restraint. As required by our UN Charter, the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all member states must be respected and not violated by any member states.
One of those targeted was Khalil Ahaya, Hamas chief negotiator in peace talks. The question now is, does this mean Israel is no longer interested in serious negotiations? We will have to watch closely. Now to the opening of the 80th General Assembly session. Even in its first week, the new president, Madame Annalena Baerbock, is already facing challenges. Among them, the visa issue for Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. How will the Assembly handle this?
This UN institution we are supposed to celebrate this year for its 80th anniversary was provided for being a place where nations from all the world can meet and work to collectively, not least to address the world's most pressing problems. And according to the headquarters agreement, the host country should grant access to all delegations as per standard practice over the past 8 decades to participate in the UN General Assembly and also the high-level week.
And also this week, the United Nations released a new report, The Security We Need, Rebalancing Military Spending for a Sustainable and Peaceful Future. It warns that global military spending reached a record $2.7 trillion in 2024, amid intensifying wars and rising geopolitical tensions. And here's Secretary General's message to the member states.
The evidence is clear. Excessive military spending does not guarantee peace. It often undermines it, fueling arms race, deepening mistrust, and diverting resources from the very foundations of stability. A more secure world begins by investing at least as much in fighting poverty as we do in fighting wars.
With high-level week fast approaching, we can expect more meetings and more interviews, so stay tuned. But that's all from me for now. Back to you, Elaine.
Shiraja, thanks. Maintaining international peace and security is one of the UN's core principles. The organization is asking tough questions about the role of peacekeeping missions as the Blue Helmets face an array of challenges.
Peacekeeping is not a luxury. It is a lifeline for millions who count on it for a future without fear. Over 60,000 peacekeepers, representing 15 member states, bravely carry out its vital work in 11 missions, making peacekeepers one of the UN's largest and most visible activity in the field.
For decades, UN peace operations have proven to be testaments of multilateralism in action, saving lives, preventing the spread of conflicts, and sustaining peace. At the same time, however, there is an increasing need for these operations to adapt and to respond to complex challenges, notably climate change.
Monday marked International Literacy Day. It comes as global funding for education faces serious challenges. According to UNICEF, the gap could lead to another 6 million children being out of school by 2026. West and Central Africa could see the biggest impacts. Nearly 30 countries could lose a quarter of their much-needed educational opportunities. Let's take a look at some of the other issues on the UN's agenda.
Around the world, the long-established rules of war are being shredded, with virtually no accountability.
Human Rights Chief Volker Turk called on member states to wake up and act during an address in Geneva. Turk said violence is being glorified around the world while international law is being disregarded.
This technical document provides for a clear understanding of the procedures for inspection, notifications, and their implementation, fully in line with the relevant provisions of the CSA. This includes all facilities and installations in Iran.
A new agreement reached with Iran's foreign minister represents a step toward resumption of IAEA inspections of Iran's nuclear program. Inspections were suspended after Israel and the U.S. launched strikes on Iranian facilities in June.
Without immediate support, the weeks ahead risk compounding this tragedy with preventable disease outbreaks, further displacement, and additional loss of life.
Conditions are dire for earthquake survivors in Afghanistan. Tremors and aftershocks have impacted more than 38,000 people. Many are without access to food and clean water.
Coming up.
Innovations from the countries of the South are not only existing, but they are growing and they are extremely important.
UN Insider.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there. To see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
Working together to foster development and self-reliance. For decades, countries in the global south have been joining forces to propel themselves toward important goals. This week marks the International Day for South-South Cooperation. I discussed the importance of the framework with Dima Al-Khatib, Director of the UN's Office for South-South Cooperation. This year's theme is New Opportunities and Innovation through South-South and Triangular Cooperation. What would you like people to know about this special day, and what are some of the current challenges among countries in the global south?
Thank you very much, Elaine. For us, the UN Day for South-South Cooperation is a kind of constant reminder about the importance of this development cooperation modality. And for this year's themes, we focused on innovation because we believe that innovations from the countries of the South are not only existing, but they are growing and they are extremely important. And we need to find mechanisms and systems, including through the multilateral system, to see how we can support them to grow and thrive and be the bridge, the accelerator for the SDGs.
Part of this also goes to calling for turning promises into progress. Explain what that means.
I mean, as you all know, the progress towards achieving the SDGs is not, we are still lagging behind on many fronts, right? We're on 20% or even less in terms of achieving some of the targets. But the important thing in this whole phenomena is to also acknowledge that South-South cooperation is a gradual thing. It's something that you need to nurture. It's something that should become part of the DNA of development cooperation. I know we keep saying that this is a complement to the traditional way of doing development cooperation, but I do believe that it should become central to the work that we are doing as UN system, but also as development actors. And it needs to be also more inclusive, to also bring on board additional key actors who bring diverse types of experiences, of knowledge that we need to cater for.
Your office recently released a report called Bridging Horizons and Continents, partly about understanding the evolving dynamics of cooperation. What does that mean, and what were some of the key takeaways of that report?
The difference with this report, it was developed independently, and it really looked at, how the spirit of Bandung and the spirit of South-South cooperation has grown over the years. And most importantly, what's the foresight for that? What do the trends tell us in terms of what could be achieved, what transformation could be achieved through South-South and triangular cooperation, including, cross-regional and across the different continents. And what this report also brings is also different dimensions and the voices of the youth. The youth are more than 60% of the, demographic profile of the countries of the South, and it was also very important for us to bring this dimension and to also bring forward their aspiration in terms of not only their understanding, but where do they see the opportunities.
You mentioned the future. I mean, this is also about the young people and their involvement in this.
Yes, indeed. The power that young people bring to the whole development cooperation is immense. The potential for innovation is also immense, and that's something that us as a multilateral system, we need to further encourage and to see how we can bring the best out of it and engage them meaningfully. And I think this is what the young people have been asking for, the meaningful engagement, not only to say youth have been, need to be engaged, is how are you going to engage us?
This is also a very important time here at UN headquarters with the 80th session of the General Assembly getting underway. How do you hope that these messages get across, given everything else that is happening in the world?
The agenda is loaded, as you all know, and I think the world is going through extremely challenging times, you're right, whether geopolitically or from a financial sustainability perspective. I think the countries are really, struggling to see what would be the best ways to overcome these challenges. And we have seen, that South-South and triangular cooperation have been really playing a major role in transforming this reality. We have a long-standing relationship with China, for example, whereby we have seen that transformation in many ways. We have seen this transformation. Recently, we have done some deep dives in preparation for the conference on the landlocked countries, whereby we looked into 5 landlocked countries and how South-South cooperation has really transformed certain contexts in development, such in Ethiopia, in Rwanda, in Tajikistan, and many other countries. So for us, it is very important that with this General Assembly, to really look into all ways of advancing the accelerating the Sustainable Development Goals. And I believe that South-South and triangular cooperation would be key accelerators. They need to be also put at the center of the work of the UN system as part of their partnership strategy.
China is often a voice for the global South. How significant is China's role in South-South cooperation?
It's part of the DNA of the development cooperation that China is supporting. Since the initiation of this office, China has been a key supporter and collaborator for this office. We have seen this advancement in concrete examples. Our collaboration with China dates back to the early 70s. Following the establishment of this office, we will be launching during the GA the new phase for our collaboration with China, a partnership or a framework collaboration that will really capitalize and build on previous successes, but also will aim at addressing all of the challenges that the countries of the South are struggling with, including digital, including disaster risk management, including catering for the needs of the youth. The importance of this collaboration is also learning from China and China's experience and institutions on how to go about things. I have visited during my assignment with the Office China twice, and every time I was really amazed at the advancement and the progress that China is offering, even through our collaboration to the countries of the South. We have been working with China on supporting e-commerce platforms, and it has been unbelievably impactful for those participants wanting to learn from the experience of China in advancing trade, in advancing their economic development through such platforms and such experiences. We have also witnessed how the expertise of China in power generation at the local level and engaging the local communities, the use of technologies and artificial intelligence. Also, what stuck in my mind is this collaboration between Hangzhou and Santiago in terms of managing the transport sector using digital technology, and so on and so forth. It's endless, really.
Dima Al-Khatib, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
UN Insider.
Holding guns. Words protesters.
Were you worried about your life at that particular time?
Not at all.
Excellency, thank you very much for your time. What is your assessment of the state of the continent today?
Africa has the potential to power itself.
Excuse me.
Climate change presents a range of challenges, from extreme weather events to fluctuating resources. For farmers, the effects of climate change are hurting their ability to grow enough supply to meet demand, and some are struggling to stay in business.
If water is the key to agricultural success, then in an era when rains are more extreme at both ends of the spectrum,
dry or over-watering are both extremes of water management.
Greater technological involvement in irrigation must be the solution.
Trade, spray trade, artificial intelligence programs that can tell you when to and when not to let the water run. That should be a priority now for the government to provide funds, subsidize this type of situation, because it will save on water consumption. It will earn more taxes on production. So that's not an individual decision, but rather a local, regional, or global decision. Water management is definitely the route to go.
Today we know that advancements in technology are going to help us manage our water better. We need to reinforce our reservoirs and then implement more drip systems. There's a lot of hope and expectation because we are always improving and evolving.
As agricultural technology maximizes the natural resources available to producers, they are finding success in spite of the more extreme weather.
Pues mira, sinceramente ya se podría decir que aquí nos tocó.
In all honesty, this is the situation we're facing and this is our work.
Porque este es un trabajo, es un negocio.
The work of farming is a noble one, and a therapeutic one because you are working with Mother Earth.
Porque estás trabajando con la tierra, con la madre tierra, bonito.
Living in contact with nature is profitable. When things go right, there's money to be made.
Cuando te da el negocio, el de plantas te da.
So it's still preferable for us to continue despite the climate issues than to seek work elsewhere.
Con los problemas del clima,
we prefer to remain here, where we are from, and find solutions.
De origen, por así decirlo.
I'm Elaine Reyes at UN headquarters in New York. Thanks for being a UN Insider. I'm Elaine Reyes at the United Nations headquarters in New York, and this is a special edition of UN Insider.
UN Insider serves as an important window for the global audience to better understand multilateral diplomacy.
It's very important for the media to cover the United Nations, to seek to understand and tell the story in ways that the average person in the street can understand.
I think it's very important that the media should contribute to conveying important messages about the reality of today's challenges.
UN Insider has come to the UN, and we at the UN are so grateful to have it here. It is the only dedicated TV program to what is happening in the UN, and it is reaching so many people with, as it says in its title, inside the UN stories.
Media plays an important role in providing objective information across the world.
We think that media has a strong power of uplifting, what we are trying to convey as messages as developing countries.
We need the mobilization of all peoples, of whole government and whole of society, and media can help us to be informed so that we also can make our part.
I think the media is fundamental to enable citizens across the world, first of all, to understand what is the rationale of having the United Nations. It's not that there is one place on planet Earth that will tell the rest of the world what to do. It is a much more complex story.